Hello everyone. I'm sure no one is unfamiliar with the film The Shawshank Redemption, which has been hailed as a classical in the world of cinema. So, what makes The Shawshank Redemption a classical? Let me break it down for you today. Let's start by looking at a few comparisons, which are comparisons of similar scenes as the plot progresses to different stages. If you can see the difference between them, then you can find the biggest secret of the film's filmmaking. If you look closely at the comparisons, you will see that the biggest secret is the light and the colors. So today I'm going to look at the light and color of this film and analyze what makes The Shawshank Redemption such a classic. Here are a few classical clips where you can see how different lighting and colors can convey the mood of the character at the time. The cinematography of this film is flight and process. For example, the first shot in the opening scenes, you see him come up for a near close-up. Then the camera pans around to show the main character's face. The reason for the close-up is that the protagonist is now in a stage of emotion. Look at the beam of footlight that hits from the bottom to the top. The footlight can give an area feeling, and this red footlight suggests the surrounding area as red, which is the most exciting and intense color, while in the West, red also represents blood. You see the camera cut to a close-up and the protagonist takes a bag with a pistol and bullets in it. Then immediately afterwards, he picks up a bottle of wine, indicating that this man is drunk. A very simple shot to show that the man is drunk. A set of shots shows all that should be shown, which is what is described at the beginning as plain and accurate. A very simple shot to show that the man is drunk. A set of shots shows all that should be shown, which is what is described at the beginning as plain and accurate. But this is just plain narrative. The real emotion is all contained in the light. Next, we come to these scenes, the same scenes that appear 3 times in the film. The director has arranged the scenes very cleverly here. For example, he shows the change in American justice by using 3 separate phrases from 3 sentences. Sit down, please sit. You can look closely at the contrast between these 3 scenes at the beginning, where the changes from Uncle Freeman's performance to use of light and furnishings are very significant. For example, the lighting of the eyes in these scenes. Reader's eyes are very brightly lit. Reader's eyes are also blinking and wandering during these scenes, suggesting that he is rambling and very nervous. That's why a good film is inseparable from the actor's performance. Finally, I will get into a turning point clap in the whole scene. Okay, the camera starts with the painting of the roof. A close-up of the asphalt pans up and then leads to the workers. The camera continues to push the leads to the prison guards. The guards start talking about the theme of the getting an inheritance. The shot to the personal side also starts with a close-up of the expert, and the camera pans up to bring out Andy and Reed, who are walking. They both hear the guards talking about the subject, but only Andy and Howard and the two of them turn their heads, which fits the characters well. Watching this capture the whole film, he is always standing in the middle of the treatments, and the director made a point of getting some shorter people to play with him during filming. At this point, the camera cuts back to the prisoner. You see Reader and the other talking in a medium shot, but by the time you get to Andy, there is a close-up showing Andy getting scenes of what the prisoner is talking about. Then, continuing with a close-up side shot of the conversation, Andy starts to walk forward after the prison guard has finished his story, but the camera doesn't follow him, and Andy walks out of the frame. The camera first gives a reaction from Reed and the others, showing concerns for him. The difference in costume appears to make Andy particularly conspicuous in it. A reaction from each of the wonders and the prisoner is given, and then draws all the attention to Andy's face before he starts to say something that irritates the wonder captain, and then the camera pushes forward from medium shot to close up. The emotion of having to rush out is clearly shown. Then the wonder pushes him to the side of the building, and here a big overhand shot is taken with a wide angle, with two people deliberately running underneath, which sees of the building as being very tall through this size ratio. Noted that here again Reed is the first to start work. It is also Reed who tells Andy to hurry up and get to work at the front desk. This is a very important characterization. It shows that Reed is intelligent, but he is the most disciplined, and he knows that resistance is useless. This is the most institutionalized of people. Next, Paul. All of a sudden, the camera turns warm, and the sky fills up behind him. If you have seen the show, you will notice the uncomfortably cool gray tones of the early scenes. This is a side note to the fact that the lead up to Eddie's imprisonment was very great for Andy. Throughout the play, the director is very clever in his handling of tones and lighting. Here you can also see why this play can be a classical. In this scene, the director wants to convey that Andy's life in prison from now on is no longer so grim as it was before. His heart is beginning to change. All in all, The Shawshank Redemption is a classical thanks to the director's time and attention to detail in terms of lighting and tone. The articles are also worth of praise for their super acting. I believe that different tones were used for different periods of the play, and different lighting was used for different shots. All of these were discussed in depth by Frank and his team to give the audience the best possible result. Frank has not only created such a classical as The Shawshank Redemption, but also American in the Green and Life on Film, to name a few of his masterpieces. Because of a director who is so passionate about his work, and there are so many classical films for people to admire.